Hey everyone. Oh my gosh. It is so great to see all of you here. I know I haven't been on for like 2 weeks. I've missed you guys. Really missed you guys. Can you hear me all right and see me all right? You know what I'm like, with all of my technicalities. Oh my goodness. Let me just double check that everything is going okay. Yeah. Okay. How are you all doing? Can I just check in with you guys? How is everyone doing? I've got my tea and my water. Do you know, last time I spilt it, which wasn't very good. So this week we are talking about psychopaths, sociopaths, and narcissists. Where are you guys from? What part of the world? I'm in the UK, and I won't be next week because I'm going away next Thursday, the 8th. So that will be fun. But anyway, I just wanted to say, guys, I am literally just about to hit 100K here over on YouTube. It makes me cry thinking about it. Those of you that saw my story over on Instagram and on TikTok, oh my God, yeah, I can't believe it. I think I've got like 40 subs left or something like that. Wouldn't it be amazing if we were to hit that on the live? Hertfordshire, yeah, that's like North London, my neck of the woods, the Netherlands, Barcelona, West Yorkshire. Oh my goodness. Hello, guys. Pennsylvania, Edinburgh. Hello, Eric. Yeah, do you know what? Like, I literally, I'll tell you a story. Like, I am going to, I haven't talked about this at all. And I know I've been asked this a lot of times, like, Anushka, why'd you talk about narcissism? Have you ever been through it? What's been going? So I will tell my story. I will tell my story. But you see, yeah, I think it's time. Guys. So I will tell you my story. I'll make a little film about it, whatever, and I will release it. I just think I'm ready. Guys. So yeah. But yeah, it's been a long time coming. I have dreamed of this. I'm not going to lie, everyone. I have dreamed of getting to this space. But I just want to say none of this would be possible without you guys. Honestly, this to me is such a special few days. It has been. I can't believe it. Honestly, so thank you so much to every single one of you who have been there. I know that there's a few of you that have been on here since like literally the beginning. Yeah, just beyond words. Yes, it's a great achievement, and I've dreamed of this for many years, put it that way. Okay, so guys, we are going to be talking about sociopaths, narcissists, and psychopaths. And we're going to be looking at the differences, but also the similarities. And you're thinking, are there any similarities? Yes, there are similarities, but there also are differences. And you know what? Like, so many of us have been in these dynamics, have been in these relationships, friendships, family members. Do you know, it's not so easy to spot. And to be honest with you, would it make such a difference if we had known which one they are? Would it have helped? Because I think there's a lot of stuff out there on narcissism. And I would say that there's not so much on sociopathy. I mean, there is information out there. Maybe not so much on sociopaths, but buzzword is narcissism at the moment, isn't it? Everyone's talking about narcissism, and they have been for, I would say, quite a few years. And I know that this subject has grown in popularity, especially over YouTube, but also over various other platforms, because it's something that, you know, it's something that a lot of us have realized, that, you know, we are in these types of dynamics. Thank you very much, MSync. Yes, everyone, if you just smash the like button, I would be really grateful. And if anyone thinks that this would help others, please do share it. So please do hit the like button if you haven't already. This is amazing. 100 days no contact. Caleb, well done. Well done. It isn't easy. It isn't easy to, you know, stay no contact when this person is completely always on your mind. And we always think like, oh, what are they doing? What's going on for them? Why is this? Do you know what? I think what we have to remember is that it doesn't matter whether, you know, we stay stuck on them, thinking about them. Thank you, Lucia. Thank you for watching. You know, it doesn't matter, you know, whether we end up thinking about them, when we end up, you know, not thinking about them. We're always wondering what they are up to, what they are doing. And it's just, I want to say to you guys, it's normal. But when we let go, that is when we are finally done. And you're right, Lightspeed, they are masters of their own fate. You know, they are. Sorry, Dan, you're saying, under the framing of narcissism, how does a healthy individual look like when they work towards preservation of their self and well-being above almost all else? Dan, that's a really good question. What I would say to you, that's all about putting the energy, the focus on you. That is about putting yourself first. It's not about being selfish. This is about you putting yourself first and actually living your life on your purpose. You know, that's what I would say. This is more about you turning all of that attention on you. And it's not being selfish. It's just about that is your birthright. This is your life. We only have one life, guys. Vasiliki, hello, and thank you so much. I will be there next week, actually, in Greece. So, sorry, I was just reading the comments for you guys. Right, so, narcissism, sociopathy, and psychopathy, they all come under something called a dark triad. And this dark triad is kind of like, it's a diagnosis, so to speak, because what this is personality disorder. And personality disorder is an umbrella term, and it's kind of like, when you think of the word anxiety, for example. Anxiety is an umbrella term because you've got like panic attacks, you've got generalized anxiety, you've then got OCD, and all of these are branches of this one generalized diagnosis. So personality disorders, you've got about, I think there's probably about 7 different subsets of personality disorders. And so narcissism, sociopathy, and psychopathy kind of fit under that subsystem into something called a dark triad. So there's the 3 of them that are in the dark triad, because triad is a triangle and there's 3 sides in a triangle. Okay, and to be honest with you, there is not much difference between the 3 of them, but there are various differences. There are, but there aren't, if you know what I mean. It's the same like when you look at a personality disorder. There isn't much difference between the subcategories, but there are subtle differences. For example, someone who's got borderline is going to be very different to someone who's got emotionally unstable personality disorder. Someone who has got schizotypy personality disorder is going to be different to narcissism, except what the similarities are is they all have a personality disorder and hide or function in very different ways. Now, as we all know, on our narcissism, it's one of the more popular personality disorders that are recognized out there. And you see a lot of people, like I said before, there's a lot there's a lot of people that talk about it because it's the one that I feel like most of us have experienced, or we've been in these types of dynamics. Sorry, one moment. Okay, so with narcissists, they are manipulators. They are liars. They like to control. They are people who have no boundaries but don't respect yours. These are people who lack empathy, or they have very little of it. They may have little bits of it, but not much of it. They are very good at understanding people's emotions, but they don't feel them. They are, so to speak, people who can quickly determine how you are feeling, how it has made you feel, how their actions have made you feel, and they use that as fuel to be able to get control over you. Okay, you get some narcissists, which there are subcategories within narcissism as well. So you get some narcissists who are very grandiose, who are out there and want all of that attention. But then you get some who are very hidden, under the radar, covert. It all depends what their motivation is to get their needs met. That's ultimately what this is about. Then you've got the sociopaths, and the sociopaths have been also quite popular within mainstream media, but not much is written about it. There are do you know, there's films about it, like I think the American, what was it called? The American, oh my God, this has gone out of my mind. The American Psychopath, or something like that. There was a film about it. Oh, what's his name was in it? Completely has gone out of my mind, guys. I hate it when this happens. Can any of you help me out? Like, it's the American something or other, and I cannot remember it. But that was a representation of a sociopath, someone who is very driven, someone who is, I would say, not so much grandiose, but they are someone who wants a lot of attention. They make sure that their appearance looks good. The American Psycho, Christian Bale. Thank you, Dan Smith. You knew what I meant. Yes. Oh my God. Thanks, guys. I'm so glad you guys can read minds. Thank you. Yes. So that film was a great representation of a sociopath. Do you remember what he was like? He was very focused, very driven, also had a very unstable mindset, but he kept that hidden really well. And sociopaths do that. They do present really well. A lot of them do have high-powered jobs. Again, they understand other people's emotions, probably less than what narcissists do. But what I would say is that they're very good at reading them, and they're very good at manipulating them so that they get their needs met. You see, there's differences, but there is a lot of similarities. And then we go over to the psychos, the psychopaths. This, back in the day, do you know what? Believe it or not, back in the day, this used to be called antisocial personality disorder. And now again, it has been changed to the psychopathy. And that's one of the more kind of intense terms. And if you're diagnosed with that, well, it's you are someone who lacks empathy. You don't feel anything. And I feel like that is a really hard thing to understand, is how can you not feel any empathy? Again, they're very good at being able to manipulate. They're very good at being able to read other people, but they have no understanding. So what you will find is that these people are very intelligent, again, have really good high-powered jobs. They're in a place of status, and they generally do quite well because they don't care about the needs of others. They don't care about other people. They just get to where they need to get to, and they are motivated by usually attention from others, validation from others, status, control, money, that sort of thing. Because for them, if you have money, you have status and you are able to control people. And that's very much what this is about. Okay. So there are similarities, but there are differences, you know, like I mentioned before. And for a lot of us, when we're in these dynamics, we're not going to be able to see it. We're not going to be able to identify which one is which. I think for a lot of us, we do confuse, or we do actually not see the differences between them. But being around all three of them, you would. The fact that you have been, what I mean by that is the fact that you have experienced the narcissist, okay, being around a psychopath, you would be able to see the differences. The same as if you were around a sociopath and then a narcissist, you'll be able to see the differences. These are slight changes. Remember, you know, like when you have a personality disorder, it is quite tough to diagnose, because these terms, the psychopath, sociopathy and narcissism, these are not diagnoses that are just thrown out there. These are very rarely given. And it's such a shame, because, you know, if you look at the DSM, the Diagnostic Statistics Manual, which all mental health issues are diagnosed from, their descriptions are very vague. You know, if you look at it, I think I mentioned this in a live before, like if you look at the diagnosis of a narcissist in the DSM, it's kind of like someone who is very grandiose, who looks at themselves in the mirror, someone who likes a lot of attention. Now, since when, okay, has that really been the case? That really isn't a great representation or a description of a narcissist. I mean, really, look at it. Is it? I mean, someone who looks at themselves in the mirror. A lot of them don't. A lot of them don't do that. If any of you are new on the live, please do hit the like button. Obviously, this will get the information out there for those who really need to hear this information. So thank you so much. So if you are new here, please do hit the like button. Okay. So that's what I'm saying. Like when you go and get diagnosed, it's very hard, because think about it. You know, for a lot of it, these are self questionnaires that get asked. All right. These are questions that you answer yourself. Meaning, so if you're going to get diagnosed, I know, like, for example, when we used to do this on our dementia patients in the hospitals and we were trying to diagnose dementia, we would give them questionnaires. And so you'd have to answer how you are feeling at that time. Yes, it was a little bit different, because this is all about cognitive processes of the brain. And so we were asking things like, do you know what day of the week it is? So these were the mental health questionnaires for people with dementia. Yes, it's going to be a little bit different for personality disorder. However, what I'm trying to say is these questionnaires are you answer them yourself. So if a narcissist or a psychopath is answering these questions, they're not going to be truthful. They're not going to really say how they feel. They're not really going to be able to answer those questions from an authentic place. So when a psychiatrist is to look at this and think, oh, okay, so they've got a little bit of depression, a little bit of anxiety, they're not going to be able to administer the correct treatment, because that person hasn't been truthful. And since when is a narcissist truthful? You know, do you see what I mean? That's why it's very difficult to diagnose. Usually what happens is there is something that adverse happens. Either they are arrested or they go to prison, and usually that's when they are diagnosed with these labels. But in terms of a narcissist ever going to a psychiatrist or anything like that, this doesn't really happen. because this is something that goes very much under the radar. For example, borderline emotionally unstable personality disorder, that's more recognized because in these cases, I'm not saying in all, but in some cases, this is usually where people do try to take their lives at quite a young age. There's a lot of trauma that is quite visible. There's a long history, or there's a problematic history within that family structure, usually from social services. And this is how then certain personality disorders within that person get picked up. Like I remember, for example, I remember working in a low secure mental health hospital, like really early on. I'm talking in my career, I'm talking. So this was about 10 years ago. And, you know, I worked a lot with personality disorders, with borderline and with emotionally unstable. And I used to read their case notes, and a lot of them would read that basically these disorders would have got picked up from childhood. You know, there would have been a long history, a problematic history within the home for that child, and that's why then they were diagnosed with that particular diagnosis. Now we then come to something like the dark triad. Who is going, you know, they hide this. If you think about it, these family structures, if there's any adversity or anything like that, that is going to get hidden. That is not going to be exposed for the world to know. They are going to hide everything. So this is why this never gets picked up. So these individuals then go on into adulthood to ruin more lives, to get entangled into more relationships and cause havoc. So that's why the diagnosis of narcissism, psychopathy, or the sociopath are not giving out. You don't really hear about them. You don't ever really meet someone, hey, do you know what? Nice to meet you. I'm a narcissist. Unless they have a forensic background, unless they have, you know, been in the system. But even then, you know, this isn't going to be exposed in that way. Levin James, I'm BPD and I've got loads of empathy and emotions, but narcissism is blah, blah, blah to me. Yeah, you see, that's what I mean. Like, you don't fit into that dark triad. That's why, Levin, because you do feel, I know that people with borderline, they do feel, especially, and also people with emotionally unstable personality disorders, they also feel. They also understand. They do have empathy. And I think narcissists have a very small amount. But someone who is a psychopath has none. These are the types of people, like if we're talking about actors and we're talking about films, Silence of the Lambs. What was his name? Hannibal Lecter. I remembered. Hannibal Lecter. That is a sociopath. Look how he charmed Clarice Starling. Look what he did. Do you see what I mean? Like, these people are intriguing. So I completely understand why we got entangled with them, because they're very charming, they're very intriguing. And you want to know more. It's kind of like they lure you in. And so of course we're going to be interested in these individuals. Of course we're going to want to know more about them because they're charming and they are seductive. And they're really, really nice to be around. Thank you, Ashley. Yes, Anthony Hopkins. Yeah. Yes, I know, Rams Huran. I know what you mean. I know what you mean. You know, I also want to say, Rams, as well, that I used to think before I started working in mental health and before I worked in the mental health hospitals, I used to think, well, all the people who are who have mental illnesses, they're going to be in hospitals and they are going to be, you know, locked up perfectly in this one space over there. But they're not. They're not. And so they are everywhere. And so this is what I'm saying. We have to protect ourselves. We have to have boundaries. And if we don't have boundaries, then it makes it very difficult for us, being people who are so, how do I say, emotionally intelligent, people who have empathy. There are a lot of people out there who don't have that or have very, very little. And they will leech on to people like us who do have a lot of it, who do care about others. And this is where they will exploit it. They will exploit it because it makes them feel good. It's almost as though they take it from you. They use your emotions as weakness. All right? That's the way that they look at it. They see your emotions as weakness. Remember, if you are someone who has no empathy, who cannot feel, who is completely devoid of emotion, and then you see someone who has, you want to take that from them because you don't have any boundaries. You don't care how your actions are going to make that other person feel. So you just take what isn't yours and you'll exploit it. And that, oh, thank you, M. Singh. Bless you. Thank you so much. I practice the LOA and have journaled for years. My ex-narc read my scripting and thought it was a diary. I had to explain to him that it was a manifesting technique. Yet he is angry at me when he went through my personal stuff. Yeah, well, I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised that he did. You know why? Because it was something, you were doing something for yourself. You were trying to better yourself, your life, and he wasn't a part of it. So you were giving attention to something that he wasn't a part of. And you were doing something separate from him, something that you didn't tell him about. So that's why I feel like he went through all of your personal stuff, and also that he had read your scripting. That's so invasive because he didn't trust you. He wanted to know what you were doing because he was not trustworthy, so he didn't trust you. And can you see, this is all projection. Can you see how the minds of these people work? They don't trust you because they don't trust themselves. So they will blame you and say that you're doing all of those things when they are doing it themselves. I think that a lot of them, for many of you, would have actually said that you were cheating, said that you were doing these things when you weren't, when actually they were doing, all it was is that they were projecting and they were doing that. And you're right, absolutely, Tiger's Eye Lady, felt threatened. They feel threatened when they are not part of something, because I think especially for narcissists, not so much psychopaths, they feel like you are going to leave them. And I think this is a massive thing for narcissists, and I think this is very overlooked, and I don't think people actually talk about it. Narcissists don't actually want you to leave. They don't want you to leave them per se, because you know what it is? It's all about supply. If you leave, then they're going to lose someone who is giving them attention, someone who is validating them, someone who they know that they don't have to work so hard, okay, and it's easy for them. They feel like they are losing that, and they don't want to lose that. Why would you want to lose that? Why would you want to make your life difficult? It's easy. They can manipulate you. They can get what they want from you, which is why they don't want to lose supply. Those of you that are new on the live, please do hit the like button. It will help the algorithm, and it will help get the information out there to reach more people. You know, so this is what I'm saying. Like, they blame others. They don't want you to go, and they don't want you to go, but yet they make you feel so bad. But that to them is normal. That to them is like, you know what? This is how they were treated as children. So all they're doing is repeating childhood patterns. And that's what it is. You know, like even the psychopath, for example, they would have had a really traumatic childhood. They would have been completely destroyed emotionally. Okay, and so what they are doing is they are just repeating childhood patterns. That's what they're doing. That's all this is about. It's nothing more. They don't know any other way to be. And you see, as they were growing up, this is how they learned to be. they're not going to change. No one's come up to them and said, hey, do you know what? You know what you're doing is wrong. Maybe you need help. Maybe you need... No one gave a thing, you know, I'm not going to swear, but no one cared. No one saw it. No one said to them. And no, least of all, their parents are not going to do that, or their caregivers are not going to do that for them. Because they don't know. And so this is a generational trauma. This is something that just continues. And so what happens is these adults, these narcissistic children, then grow into adulthood. And what happens is they go out into the world and have relationships with others and ruin other people's lives, destroy lives. That's what they do. Because it's not that they're oblivious. They know that their behaviors are odd. They know that something is not quite right. However, they still continue to do it. Lightspeed says, would you say psychopathy has a genetical component? No. And I'm just going to say this here, like, this is my opinion. And I feel like there's a lot of research that indicates psychopathy, narcissism, and sociopaths. This is more about its behavioral. So they're not born with it. This is something that happens through behavioral patterns. So let's just take the narcissist, for example. The narcissist will learn those behaviors from their parents. All right, so it's behavioral. This isn't a genetic, there's no genetic component. Although some people would argue and say that there is, but I don't feel that there is. This is genetic. This is not genetic, this is behavioral. If you think about it, right, this child grows up in a challenging, difficult, traumatic childhood, in a home where perhaps there's a lot of fighting going on between the parents. Maybe one parent is already a narcissist and the other parent is an enabler. So there is a lot of arguments because the narcissist wants things done their way, and maybe the other parent can't cope, and they just check out, or they just don't listen to the narcissist. And hold on, Jazzy Mama says, Dr. Harmony says psychopaths are made and psychopaths are born. Okay. I feel like it is, I think it's behavioral. I really do. Because it's a personality disorder. It's not something that you are born with. Same with schizophrenia. It's not something that is genetic. For example, autism is, learning disabilities are, yes. Things like ADHD is learnt. Anxiety, depression is also learnt behavior. There are certain things that are genetic, but I believe that personality disorders is not that. Personality disorders are a product of a challenging and very difficult, adverse childhood where the child wasn't nurtured in the correct way. It was almost as if like a rejection of love. The child wants unconditional love. They want their parents to love them. And what this has to do with, which is the emotional part of the brain, also to do with the cognitive part as well. It all links. That is all to do with the executive functioning, which is the frontal lobe, which is directly located behind your forehead right here. This is where our frontal lobe is. So when all of this is not wired correctly, it makes it very difficult for the child to be able to function. When a child is experiencing trauma, there occurs certain blockages, which, at the time, the child is, you've got to understand that for a child, this is a very crucial developmental moment. So when the child is experiencing trauma, adversities within the home, this blocks growth, emotional growth and cognitive growth, which is why you'll find that people like narcissists, sociopaths and psychopaths, they have emotional blockages. They almost cannot understand you or even compete to the emotional level that you are or others around them. You know, so this is what I'm saying. It's very much about neurological. And, you know, you can't fix neurological problems or neurological issues. Brain surgery, no. Because where the amygdala, the emotional part of our brain, is located, it's very, very hard to access it. And even so, even if you were to access it, I know for a fact that too much oxygen would kill certain parts of the brain because it's located, you know, right where, how do I explain it? You know, where your spine meets your skull? It's around the nerves around there. It's an almond shaped part of the brain. So it's right in there, kind of where your pineal gland is, kind of like around there. So it's very difficult. And how would you know which neural pathway to operate on where there are blockages? You wouldn't know. We are advanced, but we're not that advanced. So a lot of this is emotional stunting in childhood, which stops the child to actually develop correctly. And because of these blockages, the narcissist can't understand certain emotions. The psychopath doesn't understand them at all. This is to do with the level of trauma that that child would have experienced within their childhood. And if you look at it, like, actually, it's really sad. I know what they do is really heartbreaking. It's really awful. But this is something that has been done to them, you know, this trauma. And what they are doing is acting out of ego. And the reason why their ego is dysfunctional, because if we think about it, our ego is there to protect us. So when they were children, when they were growing up, when all of this was happening to them, this is how they learned to protect themselves. From a very kind of childish point of view, but at the time when this trauma was happening, they were children. So they didn't know any better. So that's why they behave in the way that they do. And they don't have understanding. And this is why they treat you like this, because this is how they were treated in childhood. So they're not going to change. Because if you think about it, if you go back into childhood and you're thinking, oh, okay, so they romanticize their childhood. It's kind of like false memories because they don't want to remember the trauma. It's too much for them. And if they remember, if they go back in time, if they try to unpick all of it, this would be very bad for them. This would stunt them. And in some cases, they wouldn't make it. Like, I mean, for some narcissists cannot deal with things like this. It would literally kill them. So it is about repression of emotions. It is about not understanding themselves. It is about repeating behaviors that they have learnt since childhood. So this is why they are the way that they are. MC, that's a great question. Out of the three, which is the most dangerous? That is a really good question. I would probably say the psychopath, because they really have no emotion. No emotion whatsoever. They don't feel. And when someone doesn't feel, when someone lives an altered reality, okay? Because remember, they compartmentalize. So they put people and situations into boxes, okay? And what happens is when you do that, you become a different person at different points. So you're a different person with this person, you're a different person with that person. So you can have multiple personalities. So when that happens, you don't really live in reality. And I don't feel like any of them actually do, because that's what they do. They do compartmentalize people and situations. This is why they don't attach. They have an attachment disorder, which I will go into next. Okay, so when you're not able to bond, when you're not able to really be present in that moment, how can you understand yourself? How can you bring yourself to the table? Like, this is what I mean. You are not you, if that makes sense. This is why they mirror. This is why they love bomb. This is why they gaslight you into submission, because they want to bring you into their fantasy. Okay, they're not living in reality. How many of you had actually listened to the narcissist or the sociopath or the psychopath that you have been with and thought to yourselves, hold on a minute, that didn't even happen. But this person is so adamant that you believe that things happened this way. Do you see what I mean? Like, they want you to live in that reality. And so if you live in their reality, that confirms it. That gives them validation. That's why they feel good. And that is really important for them. What are you drinking? I'm drinking tea and water. Tea and water. My favorite drinks. Guys, if you are new to the live, please do hit the like button. It will help with the algorithm to get that information out there. I would be very grateful, guys. Please do hit the like button. Pamela says, yes, they believe their confabulations and lies. It was crazy. Yeah, they do, because they actually live in that illusion. And that's what I'm saying. They make you live in that illusion. And that's how this becomes just an altered reality that we live in. This is why it becomes so dangerous and toxic. Why would someone want to change your perspective? Why would someone be so cruel to want to change the way that you think? It's all done for manipulation. It's all done to keep you trapped, to get you to stay. They don't want you to leave. If you leave, then their supply, their validation, it goes. And they don't want that to happen. And I know a lot of you probably think, yeah, but they've got loads of others. Yeah, but it's not you. They want you to stay. They don't want to be chasing new supply. That takes effort. That takes time. That takes time to work someone else out. So they don't want to do that. They just want things easy. So going back to what I was saying, there's many different personalities in one. Okay, many different personalities. So they are able to pick and choose who they want to be. And this is why they don't actually live in this moment. They don't actually know who they are. They take on the personalities of people around them. And that to me sounds very scary, very odd behavior. And as Angela puts it, yes, it's insidious. That's a really good way of looking at it. Yes, that's a great description. It is exactly that. It's insidious. It is maladaptive. They're not connected to themselves. This is why this is the dysfunctional ego. It disconnects you from who you are. It's your protection. And when your protection is maladaptive, then your whole life is going to be. Because a lot of people are led by ego. A lot of people You know what? A lot of people do live in their ego. A lot of people are very angry. A lot of people are competing. A lot of people have jealousy and rage, all of these negative emotions that come straight from the ego. And a narcissist does. They're very much egotistical, ego-based. They have to be the best. They have to be the ones on top. They have to be number one. That's right, I'm saying they are chameleons. They blend into their environment because they want to feel accepted, which is why they do things like that, which is why they are the way that they are. You see, psychopaths are a little bit more under the radar. They're a lot more calculated. They have this kind of toxic confidence. And they don't need the validations of others so much. They're okay on their own. That's right, Tiger's Eye Lady. They are pathological liars. They do lie. They also live in this altered reality. They also are very, very good manipulators. They live in that fantasy and they want others, again, to actually believe that that is the truth. They don't have any boundaries. And there's no filters, so they've got nothing to lose. They don't care. They're very callous and they're very cut off, very cold. And usually they have uncontrollable rage. And can you see that I mean, as I'm saying that, I'm just thinking, you know, like some of the personality traits of a psychopath are very similar to a narcissist. No, Oxford, you mustn't be afraid to meet people. It's just, so a psychopath company for long enough, I am sure that you would be able to tell. They're a lot more withdrawn from what's going on. That's what I think. I think they're a lot more withdrawn. They're a lot more sure of themselves. They're quiet. They are the ones. They're the ones that stare. They're the ones that sit in the background and don't say very much. They just watch. They just watch. Yes, Michelle, I agree. Yes, the dissociative identity disorder. Yes, that's right. Again, this is another disorder that's very hard to diagnose, but it goes hand in hand with psychopathy. Absolutely. You know what I've got to say to you? This has just reminded me. I remember when I was at uni and I was doing it was my master's, not my doctorate, it was my master's. And I remember we had this one module all about personality disorder. And I remember we were reading, it was me and my friend, she was from South Africa, Zoe, her name was. And no, Robin, not Zoe, Robin. And I remember she turned around to me and said, "Oh my God, Anushka." She said, "Anushka." Oh, is the YouTube buffering? Oh, I'm sorry about that. Which response did you guys miss? Which one was it? If you just write it down, just in the chat, I'll be able to see. Sorry about this. Oh no, that's such a shame. Bear with me, bear with me. I'm just gonna come off. Bear with me. Okay, so is it okay now? I think it might be my end. Guys, there's always something that's got to go wrong. If it's not my mic, then it's got to be something else. Come on, guys. Since when has anything been plain sailing here? Okay, so which part was it that I was talking? Okay, so maybe I think it was to do with the dissociative identity disorder that the psychopath has. So yeah, really this is about that they, oh yeah, this is what I was talking about. Right, so I was at uni and I was with Robin, or we were doing the master, I was doing clinical psychology. So you know what, we had to know all about the different diagnoses that they are. And we were doing this module all about personality disorders. And I remember she turned around to me, she said, Anushka, do you know what? This is so weird. Like, how can someone not feel emotions? How can someone not understand or not feel or not what did she say? How can someone be be so dissociated? I said, I know. It's actually it's so strange. But to be honest with you, like when I was reading it in the textbook, it's like it's one thing reading it in textbook, but then it's another, you know what, it's another actually experiencing it in actual reality. Because, you know, when you're learning about something and then comparing it, what happens in reality, it's two different things. And this is what I'm saying. We might not be able to spot it. You know, like we might not be able to recognize or understand when someone is manipulating us. Like, how do you know when someone is manipulating you? I muted the mic. Is it all right now? Sorry, guys. I don't know what is going on with my Wi-Fi. I like literally paid for the best one. Honestly, I think it's my end, so I'm really sorry that it's freezing. Typical, isn't it? You know, like it's supposed to be one of the most momentous lives, you know, like we're going to be reaching 100K and this is what's happening. It is freezing. So guys, I really do apologize and thank you so much for your patience. I really appreciate it. I really do. And so sorry. And you guys on TikTok, I'm really sorry as well. Sorry. So yeah, so look, you know, what were we saying? What were we saying? Okay. So this is all about the disconnection from ourselves, all right, from self, okay? When you're disconnected, all right, you don't feel. This is what trauma does. So in all of these cases, in all of this dark triad, the narcissist, the psychopath, and the sociopath, imagine them all three of them in a room together. Sorry, that wasn't meant to be a joke. It kind of was, but it was. So all of them are disconnected from themselves, from their emotions, okay? They have no understanding, all right, for themselves, for what's going on. And so because of this trauma, this causes this emotional disconnect. And the reason why it does that is because that is what our body is predisposed to do, our mind and our body, okay? Because when we disconnect, we don't feel. So when we're not feeling, when we're not feeling, nothing can hurt us. So that's why this happens. All right. So in a way, it is their response that helps them to get through this traumatic time. All right. But you see what happens because they disconnect, they never reconnect back to who they are. So they are stuck in this loop going round and round and round, doing the same thing over and over and over again. That is what happens. That is what's going on for them. And so dependent on how deep the trauma was within their childhood, depends on the amount of disconnect. Now imagine that you are a narcissist. You've disconnected. You can't feel because you don't want to. You don't want to feel anymore because it hurts too much. So when your heart is closed off and you don't feel, nothing can hurt you, right? And people who have got emotions, well, they're just weak. They are just weak. They don't understand. This is why they cannot love you. This is why they can't be in relationships with you. It's always surface level because there's no depth to these emotions. Does that make sense? There's no depth. Sorry, I lost the chat. There's no depth of emotions. Take the psychopath. What they must have gone through, all right, their trauma must have been so deep rooted for them to disconnect on that level, to not be able to feel anything. And yeah, they look at you as weak because you have emotions. What they're not understanding is that it's part of you. All right, our emotions are part of us. Our emotions are all about how we understand others, empathy. But when you don't have that, when that has been broken down and taken away, and you don't feel anymore, how do you live a life? This is part of your sensory system to be able to feel. Imagine if you had part of your sensory system missing, or it didn't work. You don't live a life that is very present, because your senses is the way that you make sense of the world, through your touch, through your smell, through your taste, sound, your intuition. Narcissists don't have that. Psychopaths don't have that. Sociopaths don't have that. Yet the narcissist and possibly elements of the sociopath will be able to read emotions. They will intellectualize the emotions, but they won't be able to feel it back. So that's why they are, narcissists are called dark empaths. I know, narcissist and empath in the same sentence. I know. Oh, Oxford, yes, of course. Response to my question of being afraid to meet people. So Oxford, thank you very much for writing your question out again. Yeah, do you know, meeting people, look, what you have to understand is that not everyone is toxic. There are some lovely people out there, but I understand that being through this ordeal, the way that we have, makes us scared, makes us not being able to trust other people. And believe me, guys, I was in the same boat, not trusting people, being afraid. Because you think that people are out there to hurt you all the time. You think that there isn't anyone out there that is trustworthy. And yeah, I get it. I completely get it. But what we have to understand is that, yes, there's going to be people out there who want to hurt you, who want to exploit you, who want to damage you in some way. There are going to be people out there like that. And they will exist in all walks of life, in all areas, at your work, in your grocery store, in your home, in your family, more distant family. That's the word I was looking for. They may be your friends. There may be people who you work for. There may be people who you cross the street and rub shoulders with. But you know what? Not everybody is one of them. And there are some really lovely people, some amazing people out there. And the only way that you're going to know is if you trust yourself, that you feel connected to you. You've got to do the opposite of what a narcissist is. They are disconnect. You have to connect, because that is the only way that you are going to be able to read people, understand your environment through your senses, through your 5, 6 senses, 7 senses. That is how you're going to be able to know. Otherwise, if we stay in this place of being scared, of not being ourselves, of not being connected, we're always going to be scared. We're always not going to want to do things because we're always going to feel that we're going to get hurt. We're always going to feel like there's something out there to get us. But then that's not really living. That's just surviving. And then that takes us and regresses us into victim mentality. But what is the point of living your life like in victim mentality? What is that about? That isn't living. So whilst I say this, my friends, yes, there are narcissists out there. They are everywhere. There may even be one living on your street or next door to you. But what you have to do is have boundaries. Doesn't necessarily mean you have to connect with them. Doesn't mean that you have to be around them. You will be able to tell if someone is narcissistic or if they're a psychopath or a sociopath. They are going to behave differently. You'll be able to tell even by how someone responds to a question or the way that they respond to something. That is what you've got to remember, is that when you look in between the lines, when you look at the details, you will see. Think about it, right? They will say things that are different. They will react to things differently. And you'll think, hold on a minute, that's a bit strange. Why are you behaving like that? Obviously, you're not going to say that to them, but you're going to take note. You're going to see it. You're going to recognize it. Because I'm sure every single one of you on this live is an expert in narcissism. You must be, because think about how many videos you've watched, how many blogs you've read, how many podcasts have you listened to. Each and every one of you could do my job, could do this. You could do this. Honestly. You're welcome, Oxford. Awake and aware. Yes, more connected to self, awake and aware. Yes, Pamela, absolutely. Reactive abuse. That is exactly it. And think about it, the reason, and all of them will do that. Why would someone initiate reactive abuse on you? Think about it for a moment. Why would someone do that to you? Because what they are doing is it's your triggers, isn't it? They're using your triggers against you. Now, why would someone, okay, right, think about it, guys. Why would someone, all right, use your triggers against you? Why would you do it? It's to get a rise out of that person, isn't it? It's to make that person feel uncomfortable or feel a certain way. And the reason why you're doing it is because you're manipulating that person. That is why people do it. That's why narcissists, that's why sociopaths, psychopaths, that's why they do it, because they're trying to get a rise out of that person. They're trying to make that person feel a certain way. And when you manipulate someone over time, it makes that person weaker, emotionally weaker, right? And when you're emotionally weak, you become malleable. You become easier to control. You then become a commodity to the narcissist because you conform. You are malleable. That's what they want. They want people who are going to comply, become emotional slaves. If those of you who are new on the live, who have just joined, please do smash the like button. I would be really, really grateful for your like. And those of you who haven't liked already, please do like the like. Please do like the live. You see a lot of narcissists or sociopaths, not so much psychopaths. They don't live in reality, so they will engage in certain behaviors. In certain behaviors, I'm talking about maybe other substances, alcohol, pornography, gambling, anything like that to take them away from their current reality. Now, remember, these people don't really live in reality. So they will engage in behaviors and do things that will enable them to escape reality, to live in this fantasy world of theirs. Okay? And they don't care about the consequences. They don't care about how it makes you feel. What they care about is that it makes them feel good. It's like I said, the psychopath probably won't engage in those behaviors. They may do, not all of them do. Remember, this is a personality disorder. This is a disorder of personality. So every single one is going to be different. I'm just generalizing here. So they will engage in these behaviors to not feel what they're feeling. And this applies to all of them. They will want to distract. They don't want to feel what they are feeling. This is why they cannot be alone. I did a video about this. I do remember. Oh, sorry. I did a video about this. And it was all about how the narcissist cannot be on their own. But I know that the sociopath or the psychopath can equally not be on their own. They need the supply. You see, they rely on other people's reactions, other people's emotions, okay? And that determines how they react or how they present themselves in that given moment. They're looking to you to take the lead. CMBRX, I like this. Sadistic, paranoid, monster toddlers. I love that. Yes, I love that. That's exactly what they are. Paranoid monster toddlers, yeah. And the sadistic part, you're absolutely right. That's all about not feeling and not caring and not having any care in the world for another person. That's what that's about. Not feeling, not caring. So having other people, triggering them, the reactive abuse, that makes them feel good. Because when you're suffering, they feel happy. And you know why they're doing that? They do it because that's what was done to them in childhood. And that's what they're doing to you. And it's not that they don't know any better. They know that it makes you feel a certain way. They know that it makes you feel bad. But that is what they are happy about. They are happy that it's making you sad. They are happy that you are being triggered. They are happy that you don't feel good. Because in a way, my friends, they're also jealous of you. They're also jealous of the fact that, you know what, you didn't have to go through what they did. You didn't have to feel what they have. So they unleash it onto you. Because when someone else can feel bad, when someone else can feel awful, good. Because they feel like they're not the only ones. And there's a jealousy that comes with it as well. You know, many psychopaths are actually asexual. And they're not about that. They could so live without that. You see the sociopath, for example, they couldn't. They need that. They need the attention. They need to be made to feel good. They want to feel important. But the psychopath can live without that. They're very happy about that not happening. For them, it's more about the chase. It's more about, not so much the act. You see, and whereas a narcissist, some of them can live without it, some of them really can't. A lot of them don't really enjoy the act. They don't really enjoy doing that. It's more about the chase, or it's more about power. you see? And again, if we think about intimacy, that's all about connection to that person, isn't it? That's all about wanting to connect on a deeper level to that person and to, deepen that bond. But when it's with these types of people, it becomes very strange. It becomes something that it's not meant to be. It's a gift, really, between two people when they love each other. But I know that in society right now, it's considered a completely different thing. And you see, when you are intimate with a narcissist, a sociopath, or a psychopath, again, it becomes something completely different. Something about it's about control. It's about manipulation. A lot of narcissists withhold. A lot of sociopaths withhold. That's all about control. Yeah. I like that tiger's eye lady. I like that very much. It's all about control. It's done on their time. They starve you of something that actually is very important to you, but you don't have it because they decide when and where, right? A lot of sociopaths, a lot of, you can get narcissists who are also quite promiscuous as well. So you see, it varies. Because it's like what I was saying before. What we're talking about here is a personality disorder. Now, if you think about it, we've all got a personality. But these people have disordered personalities. So disordered in the way that they perceive. Disordered in the way that they live their lives. And so this is what I was saying again. It's very hard to try and understand. It's very hard to pinpoint what actually is disordered about their personality. It is not until kind of later on down the line about how they are making someone feel, how their behavior is affecting another person. Do we understand that this person is damaged, that this person is evil, that there's something not quite right with this person? So that's why narcissism, sociopathy, psychopathy isn't diagnosed so freely. It's not, people are not really diagnosed these days with these ailments. And so where does that leave us? Us who have experienced this, us who have gone through this, us who have had, damage, emotional damage from these individuals. Well, these people tried to destroy you, okay, but they didn't, because you're still here, okay, and you're still going forward in your life. They haven't taken the one thing that you will always have, and that is your heart. That is your connection to yourself. That is your intuition. They haven't taken that away from you, and your knowledge. Okay, they don't take that away. So we can't sit here and think of ourselves as victims, because we're not. We are not victims. All right? Because when we start thinking like victims, we get stuck in victim mentality. We get stuck that this has been done to us. Instead, it has been done for us, because there's something about us that needed to change. We needed to see that something needed to change. That's why these people have been in our lives. And so it's about seeing the bigger lesson here, my friends. Okay, it's about knowing that actually doesn't matter what adversity we have, we can get through this. Okay, we will get through this, and you are going to get through this. We're not going to stay stuck. We're not going to stay stuck thinking that we are not good enough, that we are going to be damaged for the rest of our lives. And this is really what, like a lot of my work is about, is to let you guys know, or let you understand that actually you are not this experience. This experience does not define you. You were an amazing person before this narcissist or psychopath or sociopath came into your life. And the reason why they came into your life is because they saw your light. They saw how amazing you actually are. They saw your worth. You didn't, but they did. And they wanted to take it. They wanted to take something from you, your light, your life force energy. All right? And they tried. They really tried. And they picked you, specifically you. But they didn't succeed. They tried, but they didn't succeed. So what you have to remember is you have to see that light. You have to see your gifts, those things that you do have, okay? Otherwise, you will be stuck in victim mode and you will think that you are not good enough. And so all of the things that the narcissist, the sociopath, and the psychopath has actually said to you, you will start to believe. You will think that that is the truth. When actually, they are saying this from their delusional mind. A person who doesn't live in reality, who doesn't understand reality, you are going to listen to their opinions of you? No. No. That's not what's going to happen here, my friends. No. You are not going to do that. You are going to see your worth and you're going to rise up. You're not going to stay in victim mentality. Okay? And you are going to get through this. That is your past and it exists in your past. It is not your present and it is not your future. And you know what? Actually, you have a choice whether you want to relive the past because the past is gone. You can relive your past every time you think about it. But you have a choice. You have a choice where you want to be. And right now you are here listening to my live. You are right here, right now, trying to help yourself get through this. And you are surrounded with safe, compassionate, understanding people. Because in this community, that's who we are. We're very caring and compassionate individuals. And also those of you on TikTok as well. Yes, the brain can rewrite heart valves. I didn't know that. Can it really? I didn't know. You're very welcome, Midnight Blue. You're very welcome, Sylvia. Do you know the brain can actually rewrite itself? And I do feel like there is a lot of truth in that. And I think if the brain can rewrite itself, then I think it can also with the heart valves. I think a lot of that is to do with energetic opening of our heart chakra. Again, this is something that when we have experienced trauma, we shut down. If we don't want to feel, because if we are feeling, it's hurting. So that's why trauma disconnects us. That's why our heart shuts down and we don't feel. So we can rewrite this, or we can actually have a different life. And, you know, this is true. This is very, very true. I remember when I was doing my master's in clinical psychology and I had to write a dissertation. And I think for those of you that have been on my, yes, neuroplasticity, actually, that's exactly what I'm talking about. And it's true. I have seen it. I've done research on it. You know, when I was doing my master's in clinical psychology, I did a whole dissertation about it. And it was about neuroplasticity, exactly that. And I did it between people who meditate and people who don't. And I matched the participants for age and gender and also job roles as well, and socioeconomic status as well. And my research lasted for about a year. I was collecting this data over a year. And I'll tell you what I did find. I found that the people who did things repetitively, like meditation, what it did do is within the meditation, it caused new neural pathways to develop. It caused changes in behavior in a positive sense. It also had anti-aging properties and life longevity. Can you believe that? So you can change the way that you think. This is why I talk about this so much on the lives, on the previous lives, maybe not so much in the videos, but I do on the lives, because I have first-hand experience that actually neuroplasticity works. It is a thing. You can change your current reality. You can actually become anything that you want to be. You can actually heal your brain to a certain degree from trauma. You can actually become anyone that you want to be. Your life can be anything that it can be. So if neuroplasticity is real, then so is manifestation. So is visualization. This is all about energetic manipulation, right? Manipulation in a good way, not in a bad way, because you manipulate it the way that you want your current reality to be. Now, if I categorically know that neuroplasticity, and I have scientific research and proof that it works, then so does manifestation, right? So does visualization, right? So let's look at it this way, right? If it does work, which I know it does, I can categorically tell you, give you my word that it does. You can change your life. You can be who you want to be. You can actually manifest anything that it is that you want. You can make it happen. When I left, I ran away from my narcissistic experience or that relationship. And at the time I was in mid-flow of my doctorate in psychology. So I had to leave uni, I had to leave everything behind because I ran. I ran, my friends. I ran for my life. So I left everything behind. And I went to I relocated, completely different place. So you know those videos when, right at the beginning, when I first started YouTube, which is a few years ago now, they were filmed in my sister's kitchen because I didn't have anywhere to film it. That's why the audio was so bad. And I had this crappy little camera. It did the trick, but it wasn't good. It was really bad quality. So that's why I used to get a lot of comments saying, are you filming this, in the bathroom? Because it was very echoey. And I left and the reason why I'm saying this is because I left everything behind and I started new, and I just thought, you know what? I am not going to be a victim in this. I am not going to make this part of my reality. I was hurting, guys. I was really hurting. I was really traumatized. I was really triggered. My anxiety was so bad, really, really bad. And I didn't sleep. I just couldn't sleep because I was so traumatized. And I thought to myself, do you know what? This can't be my life. Like, this can't be it. It can't just be me that has been affected by this. So this is why I started YouTube. And over the years that I've been doing, I never thought that I'd get to this point. I really didn't. Really, really didn't. But all I wanted to do was just get this information out there, right? I just wanted people to know that you are not alone on this. Don't, because your comments are going to make me cry. I just wanted people to know that actually, you know what, you're not alone in this, and this is not something that you have to choose to live every day, because there wasn't information out there. And I thought, I'd worked in mental health, and I had experience, I've got lived experience of this. I thought I could help others, So that's all I wanted to do. This was just part-time whilst I was working. Do you know what? I was working in a clothes shop because I didn't have a job. I didn't have any income. I had nothing. I had literally nothing. And I had black plastic bags full of my clothes and stuff when I ran. So I started from scratch. And here we are today. So what I wanted to say to you is, I'm no different to you. Not at all. What? Because, okay, you're probably saying, yes, but Anushka, you've done psychology. Yeah, do you know what? So have you. How many hours have you spent reading blogs, reading books, listening to podcasts, watching YouTube? You're still ingesting the same information that I did. Doesn't make me any different to you. You can do this. I know that a lot of you are in a trauma bond right now to this person. All right. I know that. And I know that it's really difficult to break free. And a lot of you have passed the trauma bond, maybe even thinking about this person. But it doesn't mean it has to be your reality. It doesn't mean that you have to be stuck in this. You can get past this. You've got to choose you. Ultimately, you've got to choose you. I thought to myself that I'm not going to let this person do this to me. I wasn't going to go down like this. There was no way. And I thought to myself, I've just got to get through this. There has to be a way. And my dad always used to say to me, and I remember this from a child. He used to say, I'll do it in the accent as well because it just gives it more, He said, Anushka, when they throw you out by the door, or through the door, rather, you have to climb in through the window. I was like, Dad, what are you talking about? Seriously. But when we think about it, what he was saying is, don't give up. Don't give up on yourself. Because this is your life. This is you. This is your life. If you give up on yourself, you're giving up. And you know how many other people have given up already on their life? Literally, look around you. All of those people have given up. You've been given a gift. Don't shoot me for saying this. Yes, the accent. Yes, light speed buzzer. Yes. Actually, yes, you're right. All of these people around you have given up. Because they don't see, they don't feel. And this person has been brought into your life for a reason. It's actually a gift. It's a gift because it gives you the opportunity to take a look and think, what is there? What is it there that I can change? What is it that I wasn't seeing? Why am I being triggered? What's going on? It gives you the opportunity to be able to change that. I'm sorry to hear that, Oxford. A lot of people do, because this journey is not for the faint-hearted. And you're not part of that. You're not the faint-hearted. You're the ones that are the warriors, that are the champions, that are the fighters, the winners. Okay, because you've got to this place. A lot of people don't survive it, or wouldn't. Okay, that's what you got to do. You don't hate them for being in your life. Learn from them. And that is really the gift. Because what is the alternative? You're going to look at this as a curse for the rest of your life? And you know what that negative energy does to you? Yeah, that's right. It kills you. It makes you give up. It makes you feel like a victim. So look at them. Look at them as a gift. What can you learn about you? And that's what you need to look at this as. Does it matter that they are a psychopath, sociopath, narcissist, whichever label it is? They're toxic. They're not very nice people. They all show the same behaviors. They all behave in the same way. Does it even matter what they are? Would it help you to know what label? No. What you know is that they are toxic. What you know is that's not how you want to live your life. You don't want to be stuck in that cycle with that person anymore. No. This is about you moving forward and really recognizing your worth. Like I said, neuroplasticity is real. It is a thing. So is manifestation. All of that is real. All of that is true. I have scientific research. If anyone doesn't believe me, I can send you my research. You can read all 67 pages of it. A4, may I add. Both sides. Or is it more? I don't know. Maybe it's more. Anyway. So this proves that actually you can change your life. You can change and create your own world and create the way that you want to live your life. And that is the real gift, my friends. It is a gift. These people, okay, are very hard to detect for a reason, okay? Because they are sent to you to test you. There's another word for them, karmic partners. They are karmic people sent to you. These relationships are meant to be challenging. They are meant to break you. They are meant to leave you in despair. But what they're not meant to do is stay in your life forever. Out of all the time that I have been talking about this or doing this on YouTube, I have never, ever once just come across just one happy, successful, narcissistic relationship. Yeah, it's funny that, isn't it? Really funny that, except it's not funny. There is a reason for that. You cannot make a relationship with a narcissist, a sociopath, or a psychopath work. Because you know what they lack? One fundamental human thing. And that is emotion. That is feeling. That is connection. They are so blocked. They are so detached from themselves, from reality. They just don't feel that they don't exist in this world. They don't exist here. They're just shadows. They're ghosts. They're shadows. They don't really live. And they have chosen this in some way, because many of us have very traumatic childhoods. We have childhoods where we have not been actualized as children or seen as children. And we have also disconnected from ourselves in some way. We have also suppressed ourselves. But we didn't choose that path. We didn't choose to go and damage other people or do this to others. A lot of us do have our hearts shut down. Maybe from childhood, or maybe from even this experience from, with the narcissist or the psychopath or the sociopath. But we are not like them, because we didn't make that choice to hurt others to make ourselves feel better, or to have this dysfunctional ego. When we don't feel, yes, it's a trauma response. But then over time, we learn to feel. We learn that this is a cycle, and we learn that we can move through this. But a narcissist doesn't. They don't think that there is anything wrong with them. So they continue to do the same thing over and over again. Like a dysfunctional cycle, they think that their life is going to change when you keep doing the same thing over and over again. And isn't that the definition of mental health? Doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. They just do the same thing over and over again because they don't know any other way. They just think that if they repeat the same patterns, they're gonna get something different. But also think about it, it meets their needs. All they want is someone to validate them. All they want is someone to notice them and give them love, something that they never got, but they will never give it in return because they cannot feel it. Right? They're not going to give that back to anybody, least of all themselves, and certainly not you. So if you don't do what they want you to do, they'll just get rid of you. Right? Oh, yes, that's right. That's right, actually. Yes. Definition of insanity, not mental health. Yes. Same thing, right? Yes, they are predictable. Thank you, Anne. You're welcome. Thank you. Yes, Caleb, you're absolutely right. Don't stay stuck watching too many narcissistic videos, particularly at night, because then it interrupts your sleep. And we all know how important our sleep is to us. Yeah. Yeah, it's about not being stuck in that victim mentality. That's right, Angela. They hate it when we are happy and authentic. So you see, this dark triad, this triangle of darkness, they're all very similar, aren't they? I mean, there really isn't much difference. I don't know. What do you guys think? You know, put in the comments, you know, if you think that there is any difference. I I see slight differences, but to varying degree, because a narcissist can be very much like a psychopath, and a narcissist can be very much like a sociopath. A sociopath can be very narcissistic, but also very psychopathic. Very, very similar. Lightspeed says narcissists and psychopaths attract each other, course of perfection, show off. Would you say then that the narcissist would be the victim or not? Yeah, that's a really good point. So narcissists and psychopaths do attract each other. Cause of perfection, show off. Would you say that a narcissist would be the victim or not? Do you know what? Lightspeed, I would say that the psychopath would be stronger than a narcissist, because the psychopath does not feel anything. They have no empathy, whereas a narcissist would have very, very small amounts. They have some, but the psychopath is completely devoid. So in which case the narcissist would then become the victim in that dynamic. But you know what? They wouldn't stay in that dynamic for long. Yeah, that would end very, very quickly. Yes, Sylvia, they're very similar, and it's very difficult to detect which one is which. If you think about it, it's all very similar, actually, because it's all to do with empathy, and the way that they feel, the way that they behave is also very similar. They all manipulate, they all lie, then they just out there to damage, and they just want their needs met. I mean, you know, like, I was just going to talk about Sam Vaknin, for example. You know, and I wanted to bring on to the point, you know, of, you know, how they are psychopaths, sociopaths, and narcissists, you know, on, for example, on social media. And how do you guys feel about them offering, you know, advice or insights into their disorder? Can they really be self-actualized and be able to offer insights from a very authentic place? I don't know. How do you guys feel about that? There's also about, like, oh gosh, what was his name? Lee Hammock, for example. Who else is there that's diagnosed? There's another person that's quite new onto YouTube that I've seen. I haven't been watching these videos for quite some time. I need to do my research on this, but they are. What do you guys think? Because, you know, Sam Vaknin, I would say, he diagnosed psychopath, and he is talking about, I mean, he's very knowledgeable, very intelligent man. Sociopath, right, he's a sociopath. Thank you very much, Marte. Yeah, you know, very self-aware, very self-actualized. I mean, can we trust that information? Or is this all just to feed their ego? Is it all just about, you know, for them to feel good? Yes, HD Tudor, you're right. Yes, I forgot him. His voice, I can't listen to his voice. It gives me the creeps. Same with Sam's. Oh, gosh. Very knowledgeable people, and their videos are very informative. I have nothing against them, nothing at all. I think they're doing a great job. But yeah, what do you guys think of that? Because I don't know, can we really trust that information? Okay. Oh, Angela, yeah, you know what I mean. Yes, Mate. Oh, so he's a grandiose narc, you know. So it's, can you see, like, if you look at these individuals, you can see what their motivations are. You can see what it is, you know, that you know, can you see the differences? You know, like someone like Sam compared to someone like H.G. Tudor. Can you see that they're the same, but not really the same? It all depends what their motivation is for their behaviors. Does that make sense? So, you know, for them, they are, they want the validation. They want the validation from out there. It's not so much about the information. It's not so much about helping. It's more about receiving. It's all about the validation. Can you see how that differs and where the motivation comes from? Thank you, Eric. Yeah, he has Midnight Blue. Sam has helped a lot of people too. And I think knowing it from their perspective helps us to understand and make sense of the information too. You know, I'm not knocking their work. I'm just saying, yes, Tiger's Eye, I completely agree, but I'm not going to mention it here. Yeah, you know, it's about what their motivations are. Interesting, we're seeing it from their point of view. Yeah. I also think that CMBRX, yes. Thanks, Patty. Thanks, Patty. Um, yeah, I see what you mean. Melchizedek 77. So there's varying opinions on you know, on what's going on how they do this, what they feel, what their motivations are for being online. Thank you, Angela. I'm glad it's been helpful. I'm sorry about the live being, you know, like stopping and starting. But yes, so I'm just going to finish off because I don't know where the time has gone. I've really enjoyed myself here today. I hope you guys have as well. And I hope you have found it really informative. But look, there is this thing that does exist, this dark triad. Although I personally don't see much difference in the 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 differences between the three diagnoses. However, they do. And I don't want anyone on here to shoot me down because I just think that actually they're all motivated by the same behavior. You know, it is about manipulation. It is about getting something from you for free, something that you weren't willing to give, something that they just want to take. You know, and so they are motivated by various different things. And when we understand what they are, then we are able to set ourselves free from this. Ultimately, what we're talking about here is a personality disorder. And, you know, personality disorders are a challenging diagnosis. It's not very easy to spot because it's all about interpersonal relationships and how they relate to one another. And this is what you have to remember. There are going to be people out there who are on the spectrum, who are going to be really, really narcissistic, and they're the ones that are going to be really easy to spot. And then there's going to be the ones who have got traits, and maybe not so easy to spot, and somewhere in between. Either way, you need to connect to yourselves and really understand and listen to your intuition, because that is the only thing that is going to save you, my friends. All right? That is what is going to save you. And so by having that intuition, you have to be connected to yourself. Connection to self, understanding yourself, being your best friend is basically how you are going to get through this. And this is something, this is a way of life. This isn't just something that you just learn because of this. It's like what I always say, you know, you're not on this journey just because you're getting over someone, just because you're getting over a really toxic relationship. No, this goes much deeper than that. This runs much deeper than that. You know, you are actually changing your life. You are never going to be the same person that you were before when you met this person, when you met the narcissist. You are going to completely change. You're going to completely change your outlook and be a completely different person. Okay? So this is the gift. They come into your life, but your life's never going to be the same. You are not a victim. Doesn't matter which diagnosis, which branch of diagnosis they are, which variation they are. They're toxic. All right? And that's it. And that is what you have to remember. And that is how you move forward from this. CMBRX. Paranoid monster toddler syndrome. I love it. This should actually be the new name for the dark triad. Exactly that. They're not getting what they want, so go and take it. Okay? Don't care if they affect anyone else, they just go and take it. Because they can. No one stops them. Oh, guys, so just last few minutes, if there is any questions that you'd want me to ask, you would want me to answer, please do put it in the chat. Paddy H, my NARC creator is locked and loaded. Perfect. Guys, has anyone checked? I mean, I don't know how many, have I reached 100K yet or not yet? Have I reached it? Eric, have I, hold on, let me just double check, bear with me. Have I reached it yet? No, I can't. Do you know what, guys? I can't see because I'm on the live. I can't see it if I have. Have I got there yet, Eric? Just say yes or no. Is it already 100K? Is it showing on the channel bit? Oh my God, I'm going to cry if I am. You guys are going to see me cry live. Yes, Anushka family. Yes. Thank you, Lightspeed. Oh, it's still 99.9. Okay. That's okay. That's fine. It's so close. I don't know. I can't see right now in North American service. All right. So we're going to reach it tomorrow. We are going to reach it tomorrow. Do you know what? The next live next Tuesday, it's going to be a blinder. We're going to do some giveaways. We're going to have a party. Next live, we are actually having a party. I will sort it out so we get some music. Get some live entertainment. No, that would be so good. Oh dear. So we can all meet at the same time. Yeah. And so next Tuesday, guys, I hope that you guys that are watching on TikTok can join. But yeah, you know what? So next week, we're going to be doing the 100K giveaway. Because I know I'm going to reach it. So yeah, do you know what? It has been an amazing journey. Not going to lie. It has been an amazing journey, you know. I cannot imagine or never imagine that I would be doing this ever, like period, ever. I thought I'd be like this psychologist that sits, you know, in the room, one-to-one with my clients. You know, you're going to be sitting there, you know, with my legs crossed. Do you know, my friend, she said, you know, once, actually, I was listening to I fell asleep. I fell asleep with my client. I was like, what are you doing? How could you do that? She said, they were so boring. And that would be me. That would be me if I was doing that job. You know, one-to-ones, you know, sitting there. No, not with you guys, not with the ones that I already do one-to-ones. I mean, like if I was doing it face-to-face, you know, because always you end up in this comfortable chair, you know, and you're a little bit sleepy because, you know, when you're listening to people, it makes you feel a little bit sleepy. And then you'd fall asleep. But no, that wasn't my fate. That wasn't what I was going to be doing. This is my calling. I love this. And do you know what? I wouldn't change it for the world. I am not going anywhere, guys. I am not going anywhere. Because I really love this. I don't even see it as a job. I see this as something that I love doing. You know, I do. I honestly love doing it. And You know, there's some days where I just really can't be bothered to film. Like, you know, when you're just not in the mood, guys, I just like, ugh, I can't be bothered. And I'll just let you into a secret. You know, sometimes I'm literally, top half is dressed, the bottom half is still in pajamas. Sometimes it's late at night. Sometimes it's really early in the morning. During the day, like sometimes I will have to have a nap. Today I tried to have a nap, but I couldn't sleep. I don't know why I didn't have a nap today. But it's all right. I'm going to go to sleep soon. Thank you so much, Oxford. You guys are amazing. I love you guys as well. But yeah, you know, it's been a journey. It has been a journey. And I've met such wonderful, like truly amazing people. Like connected with so many of you, honestly. You know, and I read your comments and the things that you say. You know, and it makes me smile. It makes my day. Honestly, I do read the comments, not always all of them, but there's specific few of you guys that I have, you know, like connected with, and it has been such a beautiful connection, you know, and there's a lot of you that have been here since the beginning, and that's amazing. Yes, Oxford, a pajama party. That would be my thing, a pajama party. I'd love that. Imagine sipping cocktails with your pajamas on. Yeah, that is my thing. A disco nap. This, you guys know me so well. Yes, so you know what, guys? Thank you so much for being here. Oh, okay. Mick says, from a spiritual point of view, people who suffer from any kind of psychological disorder have something to do with evil spirits or demons. They possess people who have weak self-esteem, and they are, yeah, they are full of fear. Many times these evil spirits are in the form of mother, father, and uncle, causing many physical, mental, sexual cases of abuse to happen in families. Mick, I think you're onto something. You know, I would love to do a whole live on it, but I can't. They'll shut me down because it's just controversial topics. But yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. Oh, it's a really good point, Mick. Really, really good point. And says it's true they're not capable of having any relationship, let alone a healthy one. They are not open for change from within. It's the disconnection. How can they be? Linda, thank you so much for being here. Thank you. Bye-bye. And I will see you next week. Midnight Blue as well. Midnight Blue, take care, my love. And yes. So, guys, is that the time already? Gosh, it's been 2 hours already. There's no way that I'm going to be doing 3-hour lives. You guys get so bored. Thank you, Eric. Guys, just want to say thank you so much for being here. I really hope this has helped, and I'm really sorry about the connection issues. I don't know what's happened there. Thank you. And next week we are literally having a party. I don't know what topic we are going to be talking about, but we will talk about something. If you've got ideas, again, guys, please leave it in the comments, not in the chat section, because you know that goes and I can't read it. It goes too quickly. So leave it in the comments if there's any topics that you would like me to talk about. Yes, Paddy H. It is last orders. Yes. Purple Spliff, you're so funny. Yes, sleep is healing. Absolutely. Mention about RG. I don't know who RG is. Yes, the evil spirits. Thank you, Zoe. Thank you so much. Guys, thank you so much for watching and being here and for your amazing energy. All right, the Anushka family. Greece is next week. I'm going to Greece next Thursday. I'm going to be there, I think, 4 to 5 weeks. So you'll be with me, you guys. I'm going to take you guys with me, of course, aren't I? Greece is the word, yes. Good night, my friends. Hope you have a great week, and I will be back tomorrow with a video. I've obviously forgotten what the title is, but I'll put it up on the stories. Guys, have a lovely evening and day. Take care. Bye-bye.